Hello, welcome to my cooking class. Today, I'm just going to wait for a couple of you to get on. Let me know when you're here. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. As you know, a lot of my times on my cooking classes, I do comfort meals. But today, I was looking in my fridge and I'm going to go shopping, and I was seeing what I had left. And I had everything I needed to make a fabulous salad. And so that's what we're gonna do today. So now, if you are doing the Good Food Real Results program, as am I, you're gonna find this recipe in our Good Food Real Results cookbook. This is a digital version that you can also purchase. And what I'm making today is the 5-minute Niçoise salad. If you don't know what Niçoise salad is, well, it's basically a Mediterranean meal at its best. So have you ever tried a Niçoise salad? Let me know below if this is something you've ever tried. It's perfectly balanced with our Good Food Real Results program. If you're not familiar with the Epic Life Challenge or the Good Food Real Results program, it's basically built after 4 pillars, which is, of course, taste. And a lot of times people think that if you're making a meal that's healthy, it's gonna not taste very good. Epic here blows that out of the water. Frequency, and yes, with our program, we eat 3 meals a day. No snacking, because a lot of people, that gets them into trouble. Those snacks that people have usually have, 100 to 200 calories extra into your diet. So that could be an extra 400 calories. And it adds up every little bit. The other thing is quantity. So we make sure that you have a good portion and quality. We want to make sure that we're cooking with real food, so it's not got all those hidden salts, sugars, and fats. So let's get started with the cooking class. Now, there's big controversy about Niçoise salad, and that is eggs or not eggs. And in my fridge, I had eggs, and I love eggs. It's my favorite breakfast in the morning. And so I want to use these up. Now, here's a little tip for you, and I don't know if you do this, but to do hard-boiled eggs, what I do is I put water from the tap in here. I put my eggs in, and I'm going to add vinegar. So if you put in roughly about a teaspoon of vinegar, and that was our 4-in-1 spoon, by the way, and put it on your stove. What I do is I bring the temperature up to boiling, and then I time it. I time it for 8 or 9 minutes, depending on how you like it. I like mine at 8. And then I put it in cold water, and then I peel it. So if you're not familiar with how to do that, do try it. Now, you may be asking, why do you put vinegar in? Well, vinegar will do a couple things for you. Number one, when you put vinegar in it, if you happen to have an egg that breaks, you know how the white will ooze out? Well, because it's an acid, it will keep the egg in the shell, so it won't be making a real big mess. But the other thing is it actually makes it easier to peel. It actually goes into the egg and makes the white more solid, and it's easier to separate. So if you have really fresh eggs, and people always say if you have fresh eggs, they're really hard to peel, there's your trick. Put a teaspoon of vinegar in it. Okay, next controversy with Niçoise salad is, do you put potatoes in it or not? Now, the original, just so you know, Niçoise salad goes back to like the 19th century, and they really didn't have potatoes in them, but over the years, it's been transformed. So whether you've got little baby potatoes like myself or you've got regular potatoes, sprinkle a little bit of our SPG on the top, cut them, and so I've just halved them. If you've got larger potatoes, you might want to quarter them, or depending on how large they are. What type of potato do you use? Well, you can use yellow potatoes, white potatoes, or red potatoes, not russet. You do not use russet for these. I've got this in a rectangular steamer, no liquid extra added, and we're throwing this in the microwave for 3 minutes. Okay, so let me just do that quickly. And the other thing that we're going to add is beans. And you probably know that I usually keep beans in my house. This is the last of my beans. The recipe actually asks for a cup. As you can see, this might be a little bit more than a cup, but I'm not going to have like 3 or 4 beans left. So that's one thing I will tell you about recipes. You don't have to follow it exactly. You do if you're baking. Trust me, it's a science experiment. But when you're cooking, if you have a little bit more, a little bit less, you're not going to get into trouble, and you can modify things. And that's probably one of the reasons why I love to cook, is I like thinking out of the package and playing around and using up what I've got. So that's cooking for 3 minutes. We will cook our green beans, and green beans in the summer when they're nice and fresh, you might not even want to cook them. But I'm not putting them in with the potatoes right now because I don't want to overcook them. So you'll see what I do in just a second. So let's make our dressing. And to make our dressing, we are going to be using our lemon dilly dip. So you're going to get fresh squeezed lemon juice. If you don't do fresh squeeze and you buy the jar or the bottle, that's okay. I love squeezing my lemon. In fact, I'm actually going to grate. I make sure you wash it, but grate a little bit of lemon rind in here. It's always nice. Gives it that little bit of fresh. And when you're doing this, make sure that you don't go into the white too much, because that makes it bitter. So roughly maybe about a teaspoon of that. We will add some oil, Dijon mustard. Now, speaking of Niçoise, now that I'm thinking of Dijon mustard, where did Niçoise Salad come from? Where did the name come from? Well, it actually came from Nice in the south of France. And what it was a poor person's meal. They basically were using up fresh veggies that they had. So you'll notice that if you're looking to cut costs and reuse things that you've got in your cupboard, then this is probably a really good salad to have, because it's just little bits and pieces. We're putting in with our 4-in-1 spoon, a tablespoon of our lemon dilly dip. And if you've got a whisk or a bullet, or maybe you've got an immerse blender, just give this a good mix. Make sure it's emulsified. And you'll probably have to stir it one more time, but you do want to mix this up a little bit in advance because of the flavors that are in the dry mix. We want to make sure that they're in the moisture so that the flavor actually comes out. Okay, so my potatoes are done. Well, they're not done, they're half done. Let's pull them out. So now we will add our green beans on top. Now these green beans, you can put them in smaller little pieces if you want. I will tell you that Niçoise salads are not like tossed salads. You actually put them in groupings. So that's been in for 3 minutes. We're gonna put this back in the microwave for another 3 minutes. That will finish cooking everything off perfectly. So let's just take a look at our recipe here. So it actually says here that with prep time's about 5 minutes, total time 10 minutes to make, makes 2 servings, cost is less than $2.35. That's crazy. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Now, when you look at the recipe, it talks about, okay, a couple medium potatoes, salt and pepper, green beans, some tomatoes, which I've cut, some greens, and normally they use romaine, which I have, or butter. Lettuce is quite common in here, but butter lettuce I found is really expensive. I almost always have romaine in my fridge. I buy the package of 3 and have it all the time. And I actually have peeled and sliced the egg already. Now I also had some radishes. This is not traditional with the Niçoise salad, but what is olives. Now you're supposed to use Niçoise olives, and for the life of me, I don't know if I've ever in my entire life, and I'm old, have ever seen Niçoise olives. But what I do have is I had some green olives, and I also have these amazing black olives that I always ask for Christmas. So I'm going to put both in. And of course, the protein is going to be tuna. So if you have canned tuna or you see tuna going on sale at the grocery store, grab it, because that's good to always have on hand. So what we'll do is we can start layering our salad. Well, not layering it, but bunching it. So take your greens, make sure that they're washed. Set these here. I noticed I probably got a little bit too much, but that's okay. We'll put our tomatoes on here. We have our tuna. And so this can of tuna, you're splitting in half. This is your protein portion. Now, remember I said I had fresh lemon? I'm totally going to put extra lemon on top of that tuna. I love the flavor of lemon. Now I have some radishes. I'm going to put these by my tuna just because I think it'll make it look colorful. Like I said, if you don't have them, not a big deal. I'm just waiting for, we've got 3 more seconds and we'll be pulling out our veg. Here we go. So let's see how our microwave managed that. Okay, so 3 minutes. Look at how nice and green those beans are. So if you have our grip and grabs, put these in a grouping here. So what questions do you have for me? Do you have one of these rectangular steamers, by the way? This rectangular steamer, I will mention, I find it's the perfect size for doing side dishes. So just like this, because let's face it, if I was to put this, little amount in a multi-purpose steamer, it's really overkill. So we'll put our potatoes down here. Okay, get our olives. So like I said, I've got a little bit of green and a little bit of the dark olives. Oh my gosh, olives. Now I'm going to tell you, olives, I used to not like olives until I went to Greece. And of course, every time you eat a meal, it's olives. Olives all the time. Okay, and we're going to take our egg. Now, you can see how they're done perfectly. I'd mentioned that's how nicely they come apart. So maybe just stick your olive or your egg in a couple spots here. And you can see how, when I was talking about the Epic Life program and how we have quantity, how this basically has everything that you need. So there is your Niçoise salad. Last thing we need to do, I wanted to show you what it looked like before we put our dressing on because it looks so nice and fresh prior. So this has been sitting now for a little bit. What you're going to do is you're going to drizzle this over top. As I said, I'm going to be squeezing some fresh lemon over my tuna before I eat it. We're putting roughly about a tablespoon. And there you have it, your Niçoise salad. How easy was that? So there you go, an easy meal. I know you probably weren't expecting to come on today and think of a salad, but honestly, if you have little bits and pieces in your fridge, use them. Make a Niçoise salad. It can sort of look like this. And you can really use almost anything that you have in your fridge. Use it up. Don't let it go to waste. Don't throw your money away. You know what we're having for dinner. So thanks everyone for coming to my cooking class. We'll see you again on next Thursday where I've got some really great recipes coming up and they are comfort meals. So take care everyone. Thanks again and we'll see you again hopefully in the next little bit. Bye for now.